Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Everyday Talk. I'm your host Rahim, and today we are going to be talking about another very crucial topic while you are going to decide between your iPad and your MacBook, that why the MacBook is better than an iPad. Now this is not going to be a video where I'm going to just criticize the iPad, because it is also a very important and crucial device for me. But today we are going to be talking about that either you should choose a MacBook and or iPad. So basically we are making your decision easier here to cut the long story short. So let's dive into the video, but before that, kindly subscribe to the channel and like the video if you really liked it, even in the middle or at the end, because the algorithm really likes it. So first of all, let's talk about the desktop class operating system which is being offered by the Mac and not the iPad, unfortunately. Even with the launch of iPad OS 26, the things have totally shifted. There is a preview app, there is a better file management system now, but once again, it is not good enough to meet the same desktop-like experience of a MacBook. MacBook runs the Mac OS, a full desktop OS which supports advanced multitasking, professional softwares, and a file access system where you could just work on multiple windows in a traditional format just like a breeze, while the iPad is having a limited functionality, and it is a touch optimized screen, a touch first display. So I think so a lot of professionals are not comfortable by using or in using such kind of displays. Now talking about the software availability, I've always talked about this whenever I'm making a video on iPad, that before buying an iPad, please search and find out that which software is good for you and which software is specifically able to work on iPad in its full formed, a native form. So a lot of softwares are not available there, like the Final Cut Pro was not there on iPad. Even there were a lot of very, you can say, better video editing apps, but for the time being, when it was not available, the editors have suffered a lot with the iPad, and it was basically more like a media consumption device than any productivity tool. The apps like Xcode, Adobe Suite, and even the Microsoft Office, they work much better on a desktop-like experience or a desktop-like software, which is the Mac OS, and it runs on the MacBook. So these are some of the things which you should consider. And then talking about another very important thing, which is the multitasking and the workflow. For me, the multitasking is getting very much similar like the MacBook on the iPad with the introduction of iPad OS 26, but still it lacks. There are a lot of clutters, there are a lot of, you can say, things which make you feel that a desktop is something which you need for some of the specific tasks. It is actually real windowed multitasking, multi-device support is there. You could just attach any accessory, even if it is not plug and play. There are drivers and softwares available to make the accessory work, and actually it is an open platform where you have a lot of, you can say, things to experiment around, a lot of, you can say, workarounds if a thing is not, or accessory is not working with your iPad. There are advanced keyboard shortcuts, there is automation tools available on the MacBook which are not even closely available on any of the iPad till date, because I think so in this time, with a lot of power of M4 in the iPad Pro models, it is being restricted by the software, which is, to my surprise, getting very better with the iPad OS 26, and we could see a time in the future when we have a complete access of the features of a MacBook on iPad. But still, let me tell you, and I think so a lot of you could understand, that it is not practical for Apple to give all of its features of the MacBook, which is their one device, to the second device, which is iPad. Then what is the purpose of buying one or another? So it is not going to be a similar thing, I think so, never in our lifetimes, obviously, or in the lifetime or the production circle of the products. But I think so it is going to get very closer and somewhat really professional for the professionals. Then talking about the hardware ports and expandability, obviously the iPad is expandable. Obviously there is a Type-C and Thunderbolt port in the latest iPad models, and till this date every iPad that Apple is selling is having a Type-C or the Thunderbolt port. So it is basically getting into that world of connectivity where everything is USB Type-C. But once again, the ports in the MacBook are also offering you the software support. When an accessory is not supported, you can just download the drivers, you could just play around with the accessory and make it work, which is not, unfortunately, the case with the iPad. Then talking about something very important, which is keyboard and trackpad integration into the MacBook. Actually, it is just there. Open your MacBook and you have your trackpad just in front of you, a very beautiful trackpad, a great trackpad, just like your iPhone's display with the force touch sensors, which is something I would say that you could just believe when you experience it. And then the keyboard, thank God the butterfly keyboard is just gone, and see the keyboard with the scissor mechanism is once again in your hands, and it is something beautiful to type on. It is always there, present in front of you. But in case of iPad also, it is versatile device, but buying these accessories like the magic keyboard and all these things to just make it another MacBook, it is not practical, and it is also very expensive. It sometimes reaches above the prices of the MacBook Pros and even some older models like the MacBook Pro M2 or M3, which are much cheaper. And just for the reference, the videos for those iPads are also available on the channel, and more in-depth comparison and should you buy videos are coming. So kindly subscribe to the channel if you are looking forward into such things, and like the video if you are with us so far. So now finally talking about professional development tools, the Xcode, Terminal, Docker, Git and scripting tools which are only natively available on the Mac OS are some things which are essentials for the developers, for the engineers and the IT professionals. So if you are any one of them, my just advice is go with the MacBook and don't bet your career on an iPad which is not yet capable to run all of these softwares. And even these softwares are available to download from the internet or even from the App Store. But on the iPad, you are just limited to the App Store. If the software is available on the App Store, you are good to go. If it is not, just pray for yourself and pray for getting a software in the iPad's own app library, which is the App Store, to download it. Then once again, lastly I want to talk about the laptop ergonomics. I've already told about it. The laptop is something which is in our mindsets, which is pictured in our mindsets like there is always a keyboard, there is always a trackpad, you just open it up, you start using it. And with the introduction of the M series chip, M1, M2, M3 and M4, the MacBook is just an always on display like any of the iPad available or any of the mobile device available. So just lift up the lid of your MacBook and it is just good to go without any delays, without any boot up time, without any login time. So once again, this is, if it was a deciding factor for you, it has just gone. And finally, you can say better for traditional productivity. Obviously, if you are for writing, coding, video editing, data analysis or multitasking, a MacBook is generally superior. I would just like to say that. But there are some cases where iPad is much better and you should go with the iPad. There is a separate video on the channel about this. You could just go watch it down. I would be just linking it somewhere in the top, in the I button or in the description. Just go click it and see that is the iPad for you or should you go with the MacBook. I hope that this video is somewhat helpful for you to decide that which of the two devices, either iPad or the MacBook, is the one for you and with which you must go. If there are any other questions, just feel free to ask them in the comments or follow me on my socials and just DM me. I would be instantly replying to you. And if there is any suggestion, you are more than welcome to give it to us, because we are just growing and we are just trying to make the things better for you and for your understanding. So that's all from this video. If you get any informational point from this video, kindly like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, share it with your friends, and we will be meeting you in the next video. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious.